Be welcome to a new video where, as usual, I just analyze all of these pairs and I'm going to tell you which ones I'm going to be most interested on taking a trade and what movements I'm going to be waiting on every single one of them. So let's get started. Our first pair, as usual, is going to be USD You guys know I love USD It's probably going to be here for a while. And as you can see on the weekly, we have a lower low, lower high. We are bearish. On the daily, we have our higher high, higher low. We can see that on Friday, we close barely almost at the higher high that we had before, maybe by 1 pip. But the thing is that we did not break through. And what am I going to be waiting for this week? As you can see, well, if we go to the 4 hour, we have our higher high, higher low. I told you guys on the last week that we were gonna come to this area and then buy. However, I did not get a good entry, so I didn't took it. However, it happened as I told you guys on the last week. Now, for this week, I'm gonna be waiting for a pullback to then buy. Why? Because if we go to the daily, let me just put this better. Okay, so if we go to the daily, we have our last previous structure point here on this area of support and resistance, psychological number, and this is the area that we have used many times before. If you go to the 4 hour, you're gonna be able to see it even better because we have our last previous structure point on the 4 hour as well. EMA, it's a little bit below the area. I wish this could come up here, but if price is going down, I don't know if that's gonna happen. Now, basically, I'm expecting to take this same trade that we took before. As you can see, it's the same trade because we are having a pullback, rejection of the EMA, psychological number, last previous structure point. In this occasion, we did not have the last previous structure point, but we do on this one, so it's even better. On the daily, it's gonna also be the last previous structure point that we can see right here, and everything that I just told you guys is going on this area. So it's very simple. We had the impulse. Now I'm just gonna wait for the pullback to then buy. This is gonna be my take profit. Maybe I can put it more towards the end of the zone because every time that we come to this zone, we have gotten to the end, to the top of the zone. Last time I took a trade and I was like, why didn't I put my take profit all the way up here? And this time I'm doing that. So it's pretty basic for this pair. We have traded USD for so long, and I know if we get a good entry here with all the things that we have in our favor, we are gonna be able to buy and have a good trade. Now, AUD I told you guys on the past week that I was not interested on selling the same way I was not interested on selling USD but this time I am interested on buying AUD because I think it's just gonna have a similar price action to USD As you can see on the weekly, we have our lower low, lower high. It looks like we have not breakthrough, but I think in this week it may happen. As you can see, we have a rejection of this area of the last previous structure point. We had a little bit of a downside movement, and now we are going to the upside. So on the daily, we can see lower low, lower high, we break through, and now I'm just waiting for the same as USD a pullback, so we can have our last previous structure point rejection of the EMA on the daily. We have for areas, we have two psychological numbers, 93,000 and 93,500. So it can happen on any of those two. It is true that on the 4 hour, I do have the last previous structure point. However, if we break through and create some bullish 4 hour price action, anytime we're going to be able, anytime on this area, if we break through, we are gonna have a last previous structure point again. So it just makes sense that we take a buy here. The EMA it's closer to the 93,000 psychological number. So my advice is just be patient. I do like that the daily last period structure point is here, but on the charts anything can happen. So if anything, I could be expecting price to come all the way down here, create some bearish price action on the 4 hour, have a rejection on the of the EMA to then shift, and then out of nowhere we can be rejecting the 4 hour, the EMA of the 4 hour, the EMA on the daily as well, and the last period structure point on the daily, and that could be a very nice trade. Whereas my take profit is gonna be where these price actions stop previously, because as you can see, if I come here and put an area from there, you can see that we have a very well respected support and resistance zone. Resistance if we're coming from below, and support if we're bouncing from on top. Now, even if I move this area a little bit more to the left, you can see that this is a valid support and resistance area that we have used many times in the past. So if anything, I'm gonna be waiting to take my profits here, and for the stop loss, it's probably gonna be below this area or at this area. It's all gonna depend on the entry, of course, but this is just to tell you guys what I'm thinking about this pair. Now, next one is gonna be Euro GBP, a pair that we have talked about many times. As you can see on the weekly, we are bullish, higher high, higher low. Last period structure point, we already had a rejection of the last period structure point, and it looks like this impulse was stopped by this area and the EMA. Now, if we break through this EMA on the weekly, I mean, this is on the weekly, but on the daily, let's see how it's the daily doing. We were previously bearish and we shift bullish. I do not count this as an elbow, but if you do, it doesn't really matter because we come bullish, pull back to the last previous structure point, and now we keep going to the upside. What I'm gonna be waiting on this pair, I'm gonna be waiting for this pair to break through this area, psychological number, daily EMA. It's gonna be the weekly EMA as well, but I'm not waiting for another weekly candle. I think this can happen on this same week, and impulse, pull back to then buy, and pretty much that's it. Just impulse, pull back, and then buy. Because if we create a new higher high and come down here, we're gonna have last period structure point, EMA, support and resistance area, and psychological number. So I think that's more than enough to confirm that this is a very good trade on the 4 hour. We are bearish, so it just makes sense that if we break through, we also have the last period structure point, and maybe the EMA can go up as well to give us more confirmations. Now, next pair, it's gonna be USD CHF. Let me fix this, and as you can see, we are bearish. I do not plan on selling because we are on the lowest point since 2011. Yeah, so I'm not waiting or expecting price to go below this point. If it happens, it happens, but for now, as you can see, we have for very well respected support and resistance area, and I'm basically waiting for this trade that we took before. Why? Because as you can see, we are bearish on the daily. I don't like that the daily, that we have to go all the way up here to shift structures, but it is what it is. And if we go to the 4 hour, this looks very good, to be honest. I like that if we break through, this is going to be our last previous structure point. Even if you think you are bullish or we are bearish, It doesn't really matter. This is going to be our last previous structure point. And we have the EMA below our price. If that happens, I mean, if our price goes up, the EMA will go up. And for that, I'm just going to be waiting for a pullback reaction of psychological level, EMA, support and resistance area. The daily EMA, it's all the way up here, so no. If anything, this is the one that have the less chances to happen, but I like this trade as well. And I think something like this can happen where we were bearish, bullish, pullback, rejection of the EMA, psychological number, whatever, and then we go to the upside from there. So basically, I'm going to be waiting for a trade like that. If we can make that happen, let's say we create a new high. This could be my take profit, 100%. And we can get a good entry right here to get a at least 2.5 risk to reward ratio. Now, this is basically all the pairs that I have for the week. And there's a couple of more that I will be looking at, but I just cannot tell you, hey, I'm waiting for this and this. No, it's just like, let me just watch you and I'll see what happens. I'll see if you get to be a top pair throughout the week. AUD cat, as you can see, lower low, lower high, last previous structure point right here. And I'm gonna be waiting for, let's go to the daily. If we go to the daily, I know that it's very confusing that I have these three areas. I'm gonna break them down so you can understand this pair. As you can see on the daily, we are bullish at the moment, and it looks like we are gonna keep going bullish now. For the 4 hour, as you can see, we have this zone because it was a resistance for this price action, and actually we use it as support too. Actually, lower low. Okay, lower low, lower high. Okay. If we go to daily, we can see that we are bullish. These are higher high. I'm just waiting for this price to create a new higher high so we can have a pullback. Basically the same as the other, just impulse, pullback, reaction of the last previous structure point. I love how the EMA looks here though. And we have our area that does not have a psychological number. The psychological number will be all the way down here. So watch out for that too. And if we go to the 4 hour, we have our higher high here, higher low. So that's why I'm also waiting for the price to break through this area, create a new higher high. Maybe the EMA will get closer to the area as well. And we can have just a pullback. We can just wait for the pullback to then buy. I think this is a very good trade. Where is my take profit? I could not tell you right now, to be honest, because this could be one. This could be one. It's not a psychological number though. This could be another, if anything, and it is a psychological number. So yeah, I think this is gonna be my take profit if it's not all the way up here. But I think this is a good take profit if I can find a good entry with that gives me a good risk to reward ratio. USD CAD, similar to a UD CAD, but not as much because we see that we are bearish. On the daily, we are bearish. Last previous structure point. If we go to the 4 hour, we are bearish as well. And for me to get on this trade, I do need this EMA to be in my favor. So in order for that to happen, it's just create a big impulse, new last previous structure point, EMA, psychological number, or area as well. And as you can see, I have an alarm here because I'm only interested on buying for now. If you go to the 4 hour, maybe we can also get price to go all the way up here, and the EMA move towards the higher high as well. But to be honest, I don't see this one as clear as AUD CAD or some of the others. That's why it's right here. I'm just gonna be watching it, but not really with something in my mind or looking for an entry at the moment. Euro USD, this is another pair that I also like a lot. As you can see, we did not break through, so we do not have a new higher high. As you can see too, we do have, let's see, we can say that this is a new higher high, higher low, and this is a support and resistance zone. However, I like the idea of this price going below, creating a new lower low to then have a rejection of this high of this last previous structure point. We do not have a psychological number, so I don't like that. But I'm just gonna be waiting for something like this. Lower low, last previous structure point, we kinda had a rejection and then sell. I do not see this as clear, not even in this example compared to this one, so that's why it's not on my top pairs. If we go to the 4 hour, we are already bearish, and we have the EMA right here. The EMA looks very nice though, so maybe lower low, a shift bullish here, and then it came down here. Okay, we'll see what happens. I'm just gonna be a lot of patience on this one. That's all I can say. Bye. These are gonna be my 4 pairs summary. My 4 pairs: USD impulse pullback buy, Euro GBP the same impulse pullback buy, AUD JPY not impulse because we already had it, but pullback to then buy, and USD JPY pullback to then buy as well. This is gonna be everything for this video. I hope this video can give you a good guidance towards the week. And as I usually say, we just gotta be present, be here on the charts every single day. If you can, every single session, to just keep getting better. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't love how the market is moving at the moment, but I think it's just acceptance and keep pushing forward. I think getting also to a good chart that you can feel like you know the chart and that gives you that confidence, it's very key. And that's USD JPY for me, to be honest, and Euro GBP around this area as well, but mostly USD JPY. So try to do the same. If these does not give you the confidence, try to look for one that gives you the confidence and that you know that you have mastered and watched for a very long time. And well, this is it for this video, guys. I hope you can get some good trades for the week.